Hey everybody, welcome back to DDJ's Inferno, the weekly show where we discuss issues relevant to men and MGTOW. And welcome to the new look. Today we've got Jack Green, who is a MGTOW YouTuber and also a vegan. And so we figured we would have a chit chat with him. Jack, go ahead and introduce yourself. Give me just a second, Jack. Let me unmute you. Give me a second here. All right, let's try this again. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Jack.
How's it going? Thanks for having me on. Yeah, my YouTube channel is Jack Green. I primarily do vegan content. I've been getting into doing MGTOW content over the past few months. It's been a bit more, not as much as the vegan stuff, but I'm getting more into it, more, men's stuff. And yeah, those are primarily the two main topics. There's also some minimalism in there and, some other thoughts on political issues.
Right on. And then, of course, we have Lily Even 32, our Q&A thought. Lily, say hi to everybody.
Hi, guys.
And, Lily, I got to ask you publicly, because I've been asked this question a bunch of times. When is your next video coming out?
Oh, God.
No pressure.
I don't know, guys. Soon. I promise it will be soon.
Okay, because I'm catching a lot of shit for it. So I know you're doing some things with your channel to kind of update things, and so I figured I'd ask.
Well, updating takes a while.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I understand we all have lives to live. So yeah, so basically everybody, as you can see, DDJ's Inferno now has a new layout. I got some new logos. I hit 10,000 subs this week. Everything has been extremely busy. It's been very good. And it's been a group effort. And I'm really excited about the progress that my channel has made so quickly. It's been great. TFM has been fantastic, giving me a platform to co-host 2 of his shows. The TFM show every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as well as the TFM 420 show, the news show that is on 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Wednesday mornings. So, it's been fantastic. It's been a great opportunity. I've met some amazing people. And, a lot of people provided me a lot of help. And I don't know if you saw with the new intro, I now have a website active. It is misandrytoday.com. And I'm happy to say that Lily Even 32 helped me out getting that set up. So it probably wouldn't have happened as quickly as it did had it not been for her efforts. So I just wanted to publicly thank her for that. And I also wanted to make sure that other people to give shout outs to. Grizzly MGTOW, I know when I first started streaming, he helped me with OBS and helped me get that set up. A lot of other people, my mods, obviously Broccoli, Lone Wolf, APOC, Van Helsing or Vic Von Helsing. These guys have been phenomenal. They've been with me every step of the way, and it has been fantastic. And of course, I also wanted to thank my patrons and as you guys provide me support, I can do more detailed research. I can add new little bells and whistles to the channel to make it better. And of course, all those things provide a stronger platform, a more credible platform to get our message out and to provide the education that I believe that people need. So yeah, I wanted to thank everybody here. So with that in mind, Jack, so how long have you, basically tell us a little about yourself. Tell me what got you on YouTube.
What got me on YouTube was actually, do you know who Durian Rider is in Freely?
I
By
don't.
any chance?
I don't. I'm a YouTube noob, so.
Okay, so a few years ago, some people in the chat will probably know, but a few years ago, they were pretty popular in like the vegan sphere and everything, and I stumbled upon their videos, and it was this guy Durian Rider who essentially convinced me to start making videos because he was showcasing the lifestyle and the passive income and everything, and I was just like so drawn to that. He was kind of showcasing a MGTOW lifestyle, but without the MGTOW label. Of course, there were some essential components to MGTOW missing from what he was promoting, but that was essentially what got me on. And then I started out with like, um, you know what NoFap is?
I do. I absolutely do. Oh, by the way, before you jump beyond that, just wanted to shout out to Plumber. Hey, Plumber, welcome. So yeah, I'm familiar with NoFap. I go out of my way not to practice it, but go on.
Yeah, I don't really practice it anymore, but at the time I was pretty into it. I was trying to do that all the time, and I was promoting that heavily on the channel. That's pretty much where I started out on the channel, and it was just that veganism, minimalism. Those were like the primary topics, and then of course it just evolved into some other stuff. But that's the general upbringing of my YouTube game.
Okay. What got you into MGTOW?
So again, I was kind of already, before I even found MGTOW or got into it, I was kind of already carrying some of the, like I said, some of the parts of the lifestyle, and like the being against marriage for one. Like I guess before, like I said, with this durian rider guy who was promoting some of the elements of it, before that, I was kind of already, oh, marriage is kind of a scam. It's just a piece of paper. I was kind of in that mindset.
Right.
And then, but I didn't really think about the other stuff. I was just like, oh, just get rid of that and it should all be good. So I was definitely already open to it. And then I think one point in passing, I had found the MGTOW website, and I had found like this one NoFap content creator who was also a MGTOW. And at the time, even though I agreed with some of the elements, I never really looked into it too much at the time, but I was kind of, I wouldn't say off-put. I was just never too interested. I was like, oh, these guys kind of, I guess, avoid women in a few more steps than I care about, and I kind of just dismissed it. But then I believe it was last year. I have no idea. Maybe it was just in the suggested box on YouTube. But I found, I believe, Sandman's YouTube channel, and I went down the MGTOW rabbit hole, as many people do, binge watching MGTOW content, and I was like, I got those other key ingredients of not just avoiding marriage, but avoiding the long-term stuff and the civil unions, cohabitation, all that shit, and that kind of just like I was addicted to the content. It was just so fascinating and entertaining to me. It made a lot of sense. Of course, there's some exaggerations here and there, which I feel people in their criticisms of MGTOW don't pick up in an uncharitable manner. Of course, there's some things that are just blatantly exaggerated or a bit for entertainment purposes, but I would say most of the key stuff was right on the money, and that's what got me like officially into MGTOW.
Okay. So it sounds like, I mean, like a lot of guys that are MGTOW, it sounds like you were living the MGTOW lifestyle without actually knowing the acronym, so to speak. Is that a fair summary?
I would say so. Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. So yeah, all right. So that kind of got you into MGTOW. So talk to me about your path to veganism.
So the path to veganism was, it was right around the time that I was being promoted the kind of some of those essential elements of MGTOW from Durian Rider, and even though he had a girlfriend at the time, Freely, the banana girl, and they both kind of got me into veganism. I believe it was kind of odd. I was right before finding it. I was at the time I was watching a lot of pickup artist content, and I was like, this is interesting. Try to go out on the streets and implement this shit. And one day when I came home, I started watching some some RSD. You know who they are, right?
I'm not familiar with them. No.
Okay, they're pretty popular pickup company slash self help. It's called Real Social Dynamics. But I was watching some of their content, and then I think one of these vegan videos just popped up in the side, and then I just fell into the rabbit hole. It was like 5 reasons not to eat meat, and then it had a separate video for each category of animal product, and I saw that and I was like, this seems pretty easy. I could go vegetarian right now. And then before I even made it through the next full video, I was like, I see where this is going. I can see myself going vegan. And then the next day was day one, and then ever since then, been vegan. So that's been about almost 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
It was kind of all that, and then over the years, my outlook on it has been refined and updated, modified.
I noticed it like from some of your video content. It seems like some of your stances, at least to an outsider, might be considered militant. You want to talk about that a little bit? Like, I mean, are there political reasons that you went vegan, or are they more like personal health?
So yeah, I mean, I can see how a lot of people would view it as militant. There's probably some older content, or maybe even more recent content that just appears a bit pushy and everything. And in the past, there's definitely stuff where I was probably visibly more angry, but now I'd say it's more of like a kind of a passionate topic for me. But yeah, militant. I wouldn't say it's militant. My opinion is that the people who call it militant are just kind of triggered or offended that I'm calling out their ethical standards, and it's causing them cognitive dissonance. So
okay, so you got to help me out here. I've seen some of your content, but I haven't seen much. When you say calling out ethical standards, what do you mean?
So when I say that, I just mean that I think I think it's immoral to. I'll just get into it. Yeah, I think it's immoral to pay people to kill animals for food when it's unnecessary. So in a necessary situation, like the hypothetical desert island, or when you can't have access to plants, then yeah, justified, I'd say. But in modern Western civilization, or even other places in the world where you can get plant foods, I think it is. I like to call out either people's video content or stuff they said on Twitter, or make videos on stuff like that from popular political figures or social commentators, and call out why they're wrong and why they call out why paying people to kill animals is wrong. In my opinion. If you want me to get into like the specific, like all the arguments, we could do that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that might be kind of interesting. And I'll tell you one of the things that I thought was interesting about your content, and I mean, you and I disagree here, and we already kind of knew that a little bit walking in.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I like about your content is that even though you're MGTOW, your channel has a focus on things in addition to MGTOW. And I think that's something that a lot of MGTOW content creators miss, where they will make MGTOW content, but then they're so hyper focused on MGTOW, like they have to say it so many times per hour, or the MGTOW gods will strike them down or something. I think it's kind of ridiculous. And so I really respect content creators that actually have another passion, or maybe have a passion where they can make MGTOW content or make MGTOW friendly content, and it's not necessarily narrowly focused at the MGTOW community itself. So, I mean, obviously your primary focus on your channel is veganism, but you incorporate MGTOW content into that, and I think that that's cool. And obviously, like I said, I don't necessarily have to agree with your vegan positions. But I think that it's important that people understand where you're coming from, because even if they disagree, they should at least know what they're disagreeing with or what they agree with. So And more importantly, who knows? Maybe you might be able to change some people's minds throughout the conversation. So when you talk about paying somebody else to kill your food or to kill animals for food, and you say that that's not moral, delve into that. Talk to me about that, and kind of dig into that a little bit.
Yeah. So when we don't need to eat animals for food, when you can be healthy on a plant-based vegan diet, there's tons of vegans out there showcasing their diet. There's you could just look up. There's plenty of people who make athletic gains. There's plenty of people who can be healthy. Some people need a bit of extra planning, but the general thing is, and I could link this to you later, but there is some, there's science on you can, or there's factual claims that you can be healthy. It's suitable for all stages of life. So with that in mind, paying people to kill animals for food, I mean, they're sentient. You know what sentient is, right?
Yeah, living. I get it.
Yeah. So having a subjective life experience, I think people are inconsistent in their beliefs. I mean, you could some people would bite the bullet, but would you be okay killing another being of lower intelligence, lower capacity, like a mentally challenged person?
You mean like a feminist?
Yeah, you could kill a feminist.
I'm just taking it to the ridiculous. That's just a little sarcasm talking.
I know.
Before I get banned off of Twitch.
Yeah, but an actual like mentally retarded person.
No, I don't think they taste good.
Well,
but I understand. I understand what you're saying. You're saying that
yeah.
I guess my concern is that when you talk about the morality, I mean, are you discussing this when you say morals? Are you discussing this from a Judeo-Christian standpoint? Are you discussing this from, because I know that you live in Southeast Asia, are you discussing this from a Southeast Asian spiritual standpoint, like Buddhism or Hinduism or something like that? I mean, what's this, when you say moral system, what are we actually discussing here? Because I mean, I think for our audience, it might be good to kind of delve into, maybe not too much, of course. I mean, I don't want to tangent too far down the moral code rabbit hole, but just to kind of give the audience an idea of what kind of lens you look through when you're discussing morality.
So you could view this moral question through those lenses, but I don't think it's that necessary. I just think that with two sentient beings who are roughly of the same capacity and intelligence capability, like how we give basic rights to mentally retarded people, I think it's an inconsistency and a double standard that people would give them basic rights as it, like, not anything special. If vegans don't ask like, oh, animals should get the right to vote or anything crazy like that, because they can't conceptualize voting. They can't, they're not intelligent enough to do so. But in terms of a basic right, like a right to not be killed unnecessarily for food, a right to not be exploited or enslaved for food and byproducts and stuff like that, I believe it's an inconsistency to be like, oh, killing retarded people, that's just messed up, that's fucked up. But then to hold a position that it's just okay for animals, or even just in the broader hypothetical, if you were in the animal's position, you would not want to be killed for food.
Well, that's the thing about animals, is that animals have a self-preservation instinct, especially mammals. But I think that, I mean, I guess I'm trying to figure out. I mean, because it sounds like what you're doing is you're anthropomorphizing animals, and you're looking at animals at the same lens you're looking at humans through. Or does your let me finish out real quick. Or does your moral question, just to clarify, or does your moral question refer to all life? In other words, no life deserves to be unnecessarily killed, or are we just discussing animals for food? I mean, I need to know, and again, I'm not trying to kick you under the bus or anything. I just want to get a clarification, because like I said, when it comes to like mammals, so like when it comes to like chickens or cows or anything else that meat eaters traditionally will slaughter for food. Most people don't see those animals as necessarily having rights per se, but when it comes to humans, we see humans as having rights. I mean, we have, like, in the United States, we talk about civil rights. I know, like, the United Nations and other bodies have talked about human rights, and like you were saying, disabled people have certain rights. But I think that when we're discussing the morality, are you like I said, that, and that's what I was asking you earlier about the whole lens. Are you saying that no life deserves to be unnecessarily killed, or are you saying that that just applies to potential food source animals and humans?
Or saying, just again for clarification, I think it's important to stress sentient life, because there's all types of life that's not necessarily sentient. Plants are alive, but they're not sentient. But there's I believe it's a study or whatever it is. It's called the Cambridge Declaration on Consciousness. So animals are conscious beings. So they are in fact sentient. So giving them, because like we have, and by the way, just for a quick sidebar, I guess, because I see a lot of it in the chat. Yeah, humans, I agree. Humans are superior to animals. They're not on the same level. But I don't think just the superiority in itself justifies killing them for food when we don't need to. Again, if we needed to, that would be fine. But what was that other part? Yeah, so like animals don't have moral agency. Like these traditionally eaten animals, we're just talking about just like, we don't need to exploit them, enslave them, kill them because they're sentient beings. We wouldn't want it done to ourselves. We wouldn't do it to other people. And people think, oh, they don't have basic rights. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the point. We're trying to allow them that basic right to not be enslaved and killed. So you're kind of making like that descriptive claim, like, oh, some people don't think, but I'm talking about a prescriptive claim of what it should be.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, and again, I'm trying to drill down here. If I understand you correctly, then you believe that humans' primary food source should be from a vegan diet, and animals should only be killed when necessary. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, like if you're out in the middle of nowhere, there's no plant sources for you to, have your baseline of nutrition met. You can't, you would die without animal food sources. Then it's justified. I mean, it's not like virtuous or anything, but then yeah, like whenever there's plant foods available and you can be healthy, then I don't think there's any reason to kill the animals because they're sentient. You can't.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I do have some additional questions then, because obviously you're a bit more of an expert on veganism and the politics of veganism and the potential moral questions that are associated with veganism. So I guess that leads me to my next question, which is, when it comes to veganism and when it comes to a vegan diet, if, let's just say in a perfect world, or your perfect world, that we just quit processing animals for food, today, do we have enough capacity, enough farming capacity, enough capacity to have people subsist on a vegan diet without the need to kill animals, to your mind? And if so, why? And do you have any evidence to back that?
Capacity? You mean in terms of like, what do you mean?
Well, let's just give you an example. Let's just talk about the United States, for example. The United States has approximately 340 million people. And obviously it's got hundreds of thousands of square miles, I think. Or at least I won't say hundreds of thousands, I'm retarded. But thousands of square miles of land. Does the United States have the capacity to feed its people on a vegan diet if they were to stop processing meat? So in other words, if the United States government said we're going to get all our food domestically, and we're also going to stop processing meat for food, and we're going to stop selling it tomorrow. So after tomorrow, there's no more meat, and all you have is a vegan diet. Do you think that both in the United States that would be sustainable, and do you think that that's sustainable globally?
well, in terms of the entire globe, maybe some areas, but at least in the United States and stuff like that, that's definitely sustainable. I could send you the maybe I should have come prepared with the link for it, but there's some what is it? Yeah, we have enough land. We're actually feeding more plants to the animals. So anybody that eats plants and animals, typical, most people in the United States, we're feeding more animal. I mean, we're feeding more plants to the animals, like grains and corn and soy and all that stuff, to fatten up the animals, and we feed it to them for years on end. And then they're sent for slaughter. So all that food could be used for animals, and actually animal agriculture takes up much more space than plant agriculture. I could give you the backup statistics on that, but yeah, I mean, it's if we all went vegan tomorrow, then yeah, we would have enough plant
what about
food,
the differences? What about the differences? And I'm just playing devil's advocate here again. I'm not attacking you, but what about the differences between and these we'll call them food animal digestive systems compared to human digestive systems? I mean, you know as well as I do, and one of the first things you said when you first came on the show was that being vegan, you can have a well-balanced diet, you can get all your nutrition that you need from vegan sources. Well, most of the animals that we are feeding, like say cows and chickens, and just to use those two as an example, they don't eat a well-balanced diet. They don't, I mean, cows just eat grass and grains, and maybe they get injected with some vitamins or, nutritional sources to kind of help them bulk up a little bit. Now, obviously factory cows get bulked up a little bit more and there's GMO stuff involved. I mean, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like chickens, for example, chicken feed, the grain that you would use for chicken feed, assuming that it was organic, I mean, humans can't subsist on that alone. I mean, you might have, corn is a perfect example of, it's a grain, but it's like the hardest grain to grow. And it is one of the most inefficient crops to grow, but it's like super, at least in the United States, it's super common and it's subsidized by the federal government because it's such dog shit to grow. So I guess when it comes to that sort of thing, I guess I wonder, and maybe I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, I wonder if those crops to sustain a person could sustain, because the multitude of vitamins and minerals and proteins and necessary nutrients that we need as humans, we can get that in the 21st century by going to the organic store, going to in the United States we have the Trader Joe's, they've got Whole Foods, we've got a variety of different organic sources. We can get some of this stuff if we wanted it organically, or we can go to our regular grocery store and get this stuff. But if we were processing all these things, you can't freeze vegetables for travel. And some places like Canada, for example, it's frozen. So I guess my question is for you is that in that case, in places like say for instance like Alaska or Canada, would it be necessary for people to kill meat there and morally and ethically correct for people to get their meat or to eat meat in those types of situations where maybe it's easier for them to have the meat be imported in or to be slaughtered locally, as opposed to trying to live off the land where it's ice and snow and potentially not suitable for crops?
Oh yeah, I mean, if it's completely not suitable for crops, and you need to import the animals like that, definitely, like you just said, try to keep it more on like a, if it's necessary, still, shoot for the most, I guess, humane thing possible. But in the places where it's not like that, then I would still hold to my aforementioned position. But yeah, if you need to like do that, if it's completely unrealistic, it's not pragmatic to grow crops in the land of ice and snow, and you need to kill animals. I mean, like you said, they do that in Alaska and places like farther north in Canada, correct? That's necessary.
Okay. Well, what about urban areas or industrial areas, like highly industrialized areas that don't have farmland? Would meat be appropriate in those areas then under your moral argument?
I mean, do you mean? I mean, are you already getting the? If there's no room for farmland, are you already getting the food imported? I mean, if you're getting it imported, then you could get plant foods imported.
Yeah, I think you can, but I think the difference in plant food and animal food, and one of the challenges is, and one of the inspirations for the creation of GMO, is that the food doesn't last. So, like for instance, if we get our bananas from Central America, for example, and I'm speaking this again from a United States perspective, if we get our bananas from Central America, they only last for a finite period of time before they go bad. And so, even though we might have this fantastic crop, they may have to throw out a lot of that. And then on top of that, I have friends who've worked in the grocery industry. They throw out all kinds of vegetables every day that go bad every day on the shelf because they've got to go through and they've got to rotate all that stuff. So I guess what I'm saying is that, in those situations, it sounds like that there might be, under the moral lens that you're talking about, there might be justification to eat meat in those situations, if that makes sense.
Well, is it a difference of spending a bit more money? Or is that what kind of you're getting at? Like, importing the things that might go off as opposed to importing things that might last a bit longer?
Let me give you an example. I live in Washington State. The Seattle metropolitan area has somewhere between 7 and 10 million people living there in a very confined space. There is not enough farmland around there to feed that amount of people, let alone the rest of the population of the state. So with that in mind, they would have to supplement with meat or supplement with something that had more sustainability or more preservative value than just a vegan diet alone. And so in those situations, it sounds like it would be acceptable where you have high concentrations of people, whether it be like Los Angeles or Chicago or New York or, any major city where there's not a lot of farmland around it, or where certain types of nutrients may not be indigenous to that area. It might be better just to supplement the vegan diet with meat under those circumstances, because again, you're not going to find the range of nutrients locally or indigenously in a lot of these areas. That's why you have a lot of the fruits and vegetables and nuts and things like that. They're imported from all over the world. So I guess where I'm headed is that I think that I appreciate your moral you're standing on this, but it just doesn't seem practical from a global or a geopolitical perspective.
Well, I mean, there are plenty of in those major cities, there's plenty, like you mentioned, LA, places like that. There's vegan places popping up all over the place. They don't necessarily have tons and tons of farmland surrounding it for the local crops and getting all their nutrients from that. They just, it comes from somewhere else, I think, and that they're able to do it. I think it's sustainable in that way. I mean, if your city or whatever has to import more and more crops, and I don't necessarily see how that would be that unsustainable. I mean, there's places that import the crops and some of them go bad. Some people don't buy them and then they throw out food, but they just keep importing more and more food. And yeah, I just don't see how that's like a pragmatic justification. I mean, you can just
I see where you're going, and I would agree that most people's diet has far too much caloric intake for it to be healthy. I mean, for example, to give an example, a healthy American woman probably should, is on average 5'5", and at 5'5", she should weigh somewhere between 115 and 130 pounds, depending on whether or not she's an ectomorph or a mesomorph or an endomorph. So with that in mind, and musculature and age and that kind of thing. So with that in mind, instead of that weight range based on health, instead most American women are like 160 to 170 pounds. So they're carrying extra weight, and obviously there's a lot of guys out there that are overweight as well. Again, because they eat a high caloric intake, and So I get where, maybe for a lot of people, veganism can promote weight loss. I do know, I have read stories of people living long term as vegetarians. There was a bodybuilder in, I want to say it was India, who lived to over 100 years old, and he was still lifting weights, and he was a vegetarian. I personally promote a more of a Mediterranean diet with a higher concentration in protein. But I'm a fan of whey protein, and I don't think you have to kill an animal for that. So I guess that also leads me to my next question: is that why veganism and not vegetarianism?
Well, for vegetarianism, you still have to enslave and exploit the animal. So for whey protein, a cow is held captive. They're forcibly inseminated. You take the calf, the baby calf away, who would be getting that milk from the baby from the mother, and then you enslave them, and then you take their milk and then you sell it. So in that, and then usually, I guess we could go between the what happens and then also still the principle. But what happens is that cow will eventually, once the output of milk drops, once it's not feasible anymore, that cow is sent for slaughter. So it still contributes back to the meat industry. And then but I guess even in the principle, like it still goes back to the whole naming the difference that would justify doing that to a human or doing that to a mentally retarded person who has the same capacities as a cow. So
right.
The exploitation of the cow.
I wouldn't say that a mentally retarded person has the same capacities of a cow. I would say that the person who's mentally disabled would have a higher capacity than the cow. And so, I mean, and again, I'm thinking out loud here. But my next question is what's the difference between domestication and slavery?
What do you mean?
Well, historically, a lot of animals. I mean, like we're kind of discussing this from sort of like a hunter-gatherer perspective. I mean, because we're talking in real broad terms, and I'm trying to bring some practicality to the conversation. And so when it comes to animals, and it comes to like the history and the evolution of society, one of the great evolutionary steps that society was able to take was as a direct result of killing some of these animals. And they would domesticate them. In other words, they would raise them in herds, sheep, cattle, horses, chickens, pigs. And not only would they use those, the meat from those animals, but they would use the other parts of the animals as well. They would make leather. They would use them for tools and all sorts of other different things. And some of those things are still done today. So, I guess my question is, even if we went on a vegan diet and we decided not to domesticate these animals in order to use them for food and to use them for resources, wouldn't society suffer as a result of that?
No, I mean, if you can be healthy on the vegan diet, and you're not getting to be able to use all parts of the animal or something like that, I just don't see that as a justification. Like you don't need to do it. I mean, yeah, we've done that. We've domesticated animals and everything, but it's like, would you say that in a human context? Oh, if we use all parts of the human, like we've been doing it for so long, it's traditional, historical necessity. There's all these things that we've done, but we don't need to do it today.
Right. I guess my question is that why would we take this from a human perspective when we're not discussing humans?
Well, because you can't differentiate the human from the animal in that fundamental level of that would justify exploiting or killing the human for food and not the animal. So if you can name the difference, then vegans would inevitably shut the fuck up,
Right. No, I get it. But I mean, I can think of some fundamental differences of why you wouldn't, randomly just kill humans as opposed to why you wouldn't domesticate and slaughter animals for food. I mean, I think that, I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to understand your perspective, because to me, and again, I mean no disrespect, but to me, it sounds like you're conflating the slaughter of a human to the slaughter of a domestic animal that could be a potential food and other type of resource. And so I see where you're going, and I appreciate your position about not wanting to kill sentient life, but at the same token, the food chain exists for a reason. And so, there are other animals throughout nature, they kill for sport. I don't know, have you seen the movie Ghost in the Darkness?
No.
Ghost in the Darkness was a movie with Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer, and it was based on a true story in Africa. And it was about these guys who were trying to build a railroad in Africa, and they were from the UK, I believe. And there were these two lions, and they were male lions, and they were hunting the workers for sport. And when they found the actual cave, it was literally covered with skulls. And they showed like an image in the movie of how bad it was, like of how many people had been killed. And in the actual story, because I read the actual book, it was a chapter in a travelogue book by one of the people that was responsible for killing the lions and hunting them down. And these lions killed like over 100 people. I mean, and they killed them for sport. They didn't eat them. They just killed them. And there are numerous stories of animals throughout the animal kingdom who kill for sport, or they kill for reasons other than food source. So when it comes to that sort of thing, I mean, obviously those killings are amoral. Should we kill those animals as a result? I mean, well, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've heard that before, but I don't think you can judge the animal on that level because they don't have moral agency like we do, and that some of those animals may have killed for sport without needing to eat it, but in general, when an animal kills another animal, it's out of necessity. Now, sure, it's like, oh yeah, some of those animals may have done that, and it's sad for those other animals that they killed, but to judge them on the same level like that I don't think it misses the point, because they don't have the moral agency, and we do. We have the capacity to make moral decisions because of our higher mental capacity and sentience level.
Right. I guess my question though is why would we apply human moral agency to things that aren't human? I guess that's another question that I have. And so, I mean, that's, if you can respond to that, that'd be great.
Well, yeah. So I just go back to, what is the difference between killing the cow or the chicken or the pig for food versus, what makes it okay about the cow or the chicken or the pig and not the human? Like, what is they're both sentient. Like, they both have conscious experience. They both have a subjective life experience. So what is what would make you say, oh, well, it's okay to kill the animal and not the human because of, whatever reason? So, like, can you name a specific difference or a trait about the human and not the animal?
Yeah, the human has moral agency and the animal doesn't. And more importantly, the human has a higher intellectual capacity and the ability to use opposable thumbs where the animal wouldn't. And I know the opposable thumbs argument's overly simplified, but I mean, I think you can kind of see where I'm going with that. And again, I want to make sure I want to make sure that I'm not attacking you, but I'm trying to wrap my head around it, and maybe there's something I'm missing, because the way I see it is that many of civilization's major breakthroughs, many of civilization's foundational inventions were as a direct result of killing an animal to be able to use it. Bows and arrows, for example, were used, they used animal parts to make the arrows, and to use, for instance, they used bones and all the body parts for different things and invented different things. They used whale blubber for oil, those types of things. So I guess for me, when I look at it from a perspective of using the animal as a resource, not necessarily using the animal as a food source alone. And so I'm concerned that by arguing an anthropomorphized moral agency and from humans and reframing it to animals, that we're potentially missing the larger picture here. I guess that's what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, I see what you mean, but you said you said a couple things at the beginning there.
Go for it. Yeah, that's
like
fine.
moral agency, higher intellectual capacity, opposable thumbs. So if you right now, if you did not have any of those things, but you were still sentient, you still had a subjective life experience, would it be okay to kill you for food, or just kill you unnecessarily?
Well, I don't know about
Probably
unnecessarily,
not.
but if I was tasty, shit, I'd kill me.
Well, come on, like you know that wouldn't actually be ethical to just kill you if you were tasty.
Well, I'm just saying that like if it was a viable food source, I don't see it. I
And
personally
maybe if
don't.
it was,
For me, I don't look at it from a moral standpoint beyond a moderation standpoint. So I guess that's the thing that I'm confused by, because you clearly have a moral objections to this, and I think that's great. Um,
yeah,
I don't, not necessarily because I'm an amoral person, but it's because my morals don't project human morality onto non-humans, if that makes sense.
yeah, I see what you mean. Um, what was that? Sorry, what was that thing you said right before that? The
Oh,
first
I
part of it.
I don't know. Lily, were you listening? I was rambling a little bit. Lily's like, no, I'm done.
I mean, what was that one justification you put out? That kind of threw me off
Oh,
track. But
I just said that for me, I don't project human morality or human moral questions onto animals, if that makes sense. I think killing for food
so,
is not necessarily
well,
moral as much as it's self-preservation.
yeah, yeah. Again, so like killing, if in the human context, if it were necessary to kill you for food, it wouldn't necessarily be like, oh yeah, I'm proud to do that, but it's justified. You know what I mean? Like if we were, you and I were on a desert island, and it was a matter of self-preservation, then either of us killing each other for food would be justified. But when you have access to the plant foods, then it's like why would I be justified in killing you when I can eat plants? Like you're a sentient being, you have a will to live, you can experience emotions and everything. Why would it just be like, oh yeah, it's just ethical to kill DDJ?
Well, feminists would agree with you. So,
Well, I don't. Are feminists even sentient?
you know that is a question. That is a question.
That's the real question. That's the real
Right,
question.
right.
Feminist sentient.
Yeah. Well, I think that, so I think that we could say, without kicking a dead horse too much, I think we can say that for me, morality, when it comes to a food source or a resource, morality doesn't enter into the equation. For you, it does. I think that's fair to say, and I think we could probably move on from there. Um, I think that I mean, and you've stated some pretty solid reasons of why you feel the way you do. I disagree with those reasons, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not you. You're you. So,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, yeah, we could maybe, if, like you said, if you wanted to move on, we could in the future maybe you could come on my channel. We'll have a further debate or something like that.
yeah, I would definitely appreciate that. Absolutely. And who knows? I mean, obviously, I didn't script a lot of this stuff, so like, this is just kind of organically going where it goes. So if we have a follow-up
Yeah,
conversation, that's fine too. And then you can kind of be better prepared, and we'll have some direction of where the conversation should go, or at least we'll have a path. But yeah,
yeah.
so
And if you want real quick, we could before we move on, or unless this is what you were getting to, we could dispel real quick the myth that veganism or is like inherent to leftism when it's
yeah,
just not.
yeah, that was, it was interesting. I went to your channel and I saw that first video right up there up front, and I was like, that is awesome. That is the thing that I liked about that video the most was that, so, obviously, I'm an author, hashtag shill alert, feminist lie, it was never about equality, bestseller on Amazon. One of the things that I talk about is that opposition to feminism doesn't mean that you hate women. And feminists
Yeah.
lose their mind. And I'm like, well, feminism is an ideology, and female women are a sexual gender, so one of the two. And again, they just lose their shit because they can't get it. And so I thought it was awesome that you depoliticized veganism by objectively calling it out for what it actually was. So yeah, dig into that, talk to me about that. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think vegans are just leftist SJWs. I mean, I've even seen some comments here in the chat. They're just like, nah, yeah, it's akin to leftism, but it's not. I mean, yeah, there's like feminists and SJWs, Black Lives Matter, and every like intersectionalists who will conflate veganism with their social justice issues and try to intersect them. I think that's complete bullshit. It's just in my opinion, doesn't make any sense. Veganism isn't inherent to any political leaning or ideology. It's apolitical. Now you could try to frame it in a political framework. Like I could, just semantically be like, oh, it's more of a conservative thing because you're conserving animals or some shit like that. But
Okay, so let me jump in here then.
Yeah.
So veganism is not war.
It's not war.
Sorry, it was a joke from a previous few streams. So there was a MGTOW conversation before that was relevant too. I was just cracking a joke at it. It's kind of an inside joke.
Yeah, maybe I should go back and watch those. Shame on me. But
that's okay. That's okay. You were too busy picking plants. I get it.
But yeah, there's like I'd say it's inherently apolitical just based on those reasons. You don't need to be a liberal or a conservative or an alt-right or a leftist to be a vegan. There's plenty of, I mean, I'd say they're emerging more nowadays, that there's more alt-right vegans, there's more conservative vegans, there's anarcho-capitalist vegans, there's even some MGTOW vegans out there. I believe there's a few watching now. I've seen, some MGTOWs who are sympathetic to veganism. So it's adoptable from any perspective. And I think it's good to kind of, disseminate the myth that, wow, a vegan MGTOW, that's weird, or a conservative MGTOW, that's unheard of, unfounded. For some people obviously are just like, yeah, we already knew that. But a lot of people just have the association in their mind. And I don't support any of that, crazy SJW stuff. People think like the typical vegan, skinny, faggy-looking hipster from California, eating at the trendy vegan restaurants, like scared of guns, pro-feminist, and everything.
Yeah, but the problem the problem that I have with those vegans is that a lot of them swallow sperm. So doesn't that violate their vegan standards?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you swallow sperm from a meat eater, then that's definitely not vegan.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: Can you be trans vegan? Like, I just identify as vegan, and maybe
Oh, I thought you meant like a transgender vegan, but you mean like identify as vegan.
Yeah, exactly.
Like arbitrarily. Yeah, you could, but I would press you to see if you're actually vegan. But yeah, you could be this crazy transracial, self-identify as a vegan or something like that.
Right. Well, what if you eat vegans? Like, if I eat vegans, can I still identify as vegan?
You could identify as vegan because if they're vegan, then they essentially eat just plant foods. Or if they're a vegan that eats other vegans, then it's just this long reciprocal chain, and you're still vegan.
Awesome. So I can eat cows then. Perfect.
Nah. I see where
I'm fucking with you now.
I know. I can see some people going down the rabbit hole of like, well,
right.
Cows eat corn and grains, so I'm technically vegan.
Right. It's fine. So yeah, with that in mind, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I really appreciate having you on. I know Lily has been diligently organizing a lot of questions. So
chomping up a bit.
Yeah, well, maybe. So, Lily, do we have questions from the audience?
Oh, just a couple.
All right, let me not yet. Let me make a quick announcement for those people that are there. All right, so for those people that may be new to the channel or new to Twitch, if you are on a computer desktop or you're on a Twitch TV, you should be able to see the little Bukkake choke slams, and there'll be a little box on the right hand side, which apparently my icon fell off of with a question mark. You click that, you can redeem it, the Bukkake choke slam, for a question that goes into a queue that Lily is able to collect, and basically allows us to get those questions recorded. If you are on a mobile device, you can do what MGTOW Translation has just done, and where he's just said caps in question and in brackets, and then what the question is. If the question is to me, obviously DDJ. If the question is to Jack Green, just Jack, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So at this point, let's go ahead and open up Q&A, and yeah, Lily, take it away.
All right, most important question first, because I know a lot of you were thinking this. DDJ, who is the rapper at the beginning of the song?
Oh, so he's an independent rapper, and he is on YouTube, and his name is Bazanji, and that is Bazanji, and he's actually given me permission to use his entire catalog for my Twitch live streams. And what's nice is that I don't think he's MGTOW, but a lot of his rap lyrics do support a MGTOW message, and I reached out to him. He was very awesome about letting me do it. Check him out. Some of those songs are like the second song in the 3-song set that I played is on his most recent album, and it's like the song that you get to when you get to his YouTube channel. So yeah, check it out. He's great. I think he's I know he's in the United States, but I think he might be of either I think he's like Middle Eastern descent. I'm not sure. But I mean, he's very, very talented, and he spits fire for an independent rapper, and his production is very good. So yeah, so check him out and support him. He's not a sponsor of the show. He just gave me permission to use his music. So in that, I appreciate it. And as everybody knows, I enjoy rap music in addition to other styles. So it's an option to check out. I'll try to rotate the music throughout, like once I can find some others. But I think for a while I might have to use royalty free, like for some of the other music genres. So if there's other music genres you're into, definitely feel free to reach out to me via email or to the new website. There's a contact form. You can reach out to me via the contact form and just shoot me a message or some feedback. Next question.
Okay, next question. DDJ and guest, would you recommend an all-vegetarian diet? Or if you know anyone who's any actual evidence on health, can I have recommendations?
Jack, you want to hit that?
Yeah, so there's quite a few channels out there that I think are pretty good. A lot of I won't give the regular like, oh, check out this vegan blogger, like that must be good evidence. But there's some plant-based doctors who give some solid advice. There's Dr. Michael Greger. Type that in on YouTube. He runs nutritionfacts.org. So a lot of good advice on there for a vegetarian or vegan diet. Gives you all your good like daily recommended stuff. And then there's also Dr. Neil Barnard, who deals more with like reversing chronic disease induced by like a heavy standard American diet. There's a few other doctors. But I'd say those are some pretty solid ones. Check those out.
Okay, ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right, at Jack Green. Yeah. What has helped you the most and improved your overall mental health, physical health, and emotional health? Please be as specific or as broad as you like.
What has helped that? I'm not too sure. I would say, I guess, having a solid routine, like getting all my general stuff in check in terms of lifestyle, like getting enough sleep. That's definitely good for my mental health. Exercising, obviously great for my just general well-being. I guess in terms of more of like mental stuff that helps me calm down and I guess have a more relaxed outlook on the world. Just like I enjoy just delving into these type of topics like MGTOW or some political topics or philosophy or I think DDJ was mentioning to me earlier the stoic stuff on my channel, like that. I think that's a
Jack. Give me just a second here. I think your internet is trying to take a shit on you real quick. Give it a second. Maybe I think you're getting a little lag, or the microphone just went to hell. Are you there?
Am I good?
You're better now. So repeat
Okay.
about the last 30 seconds, because I think the audience was having a hard time hearing you.
It's probably my vegan diet that made my internet shit the bed.
Oh, you know, soy, I hear, lowers your endurance. So there you go. I'm just joking. Go on.
But what was kind of like the last thing you heard?
It was kind of like want because your voice just started going down. So
I would say like the general health stuff is good for me. Like, getting my health in check and exercising is really good for my well-being. And then also I'm just fascinated and interested in engaging in political/philosophical content. I guess we were talking earlier about. Am I still good?
Yeah, you're perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned how you had seen some of the how I have like stoic content on the channel. I'm not too far deep into it, but it's very interesting. I think reading is a good thing for the well-being. Reading like the Stoic philosophy, like Marcus Aurelius and some other shit, and just like engaging in political conversations is good for the soul,
I would agree with that, definitely. Before we go to the next question, I do have another question.
Yeah.
So when it comes to minimalism, what sort of things do you do to keep your life minimalistic? Because I know that's another one of the topics you talk about on your channel.
I'd say, yeah, minimalism for me is about in terms of there's a few aspects of it, but in terms of physical possessions, keeping those, of course, at a functional level, everything that you own generally having a function. Yeah, sure, here and there, it's obviously, it could be good to have a bit more, have some frivolous items and splurge here and there. But I think minimalism is definitely a key component to minimalism is definitely a key component to, like, I'd say, financial independence and stuff like that. And I really love how whenever I got into MGTOW content, that was a big thing that a lot of people were promoting, because it just really goes hand in hand with MGTOW to have your shit in check, and to have you're not you're just going to be more frugal, right, without a friend or a wife. I assume you have that experience, right?
Yeah. So you even save on condoms.
You even say, well, I mean, unless you're you may need a condom because of Sandman sex dolls. They may have got they may have got soiled by the people at the Canadian post office or whatever that was.
Right, exactly. That was pretty funny. All right, Lily, go ahead and jump back in. Thank you for letting me jump in there.
You're welcome. Senpai. Next question. It's important, DDJ. You really have to, both of you have to answer this one, actually. Does no FAP give you superpowers?
No. It gives you a bit of clarity, like when you first start doing it, but after that it's not relevant. But I can tell you this, for the guys that are out there, there have been multiple studies that have shown that basically for men, orgasming at least 20 times a month is actually healthy. So there you go.
Yeah.
Jack, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit of in terms of superpowers. I remember when I did it a few years ago, long term, I got the placebo effect of superpowers that everybody talked about on the infamous NoFap subreddit. And but eventually they kind of just evened out, and I felt just like a normal human being again, without. But I think also mainly it's the incessant porn use that could really be fucking with guys' heads. But yeah, having regular orgasm is definitely healthy.
Okay, couple more questions along a similar stream. for Jack. Are you a soy boy?
Am I a soy boy?
Boy. Mm-hmm.
I eat a bit.
And do you have soy boy moves?
I definitely don't have soy boy. I don't have soy boy moves, but I eat a bit of soy, and I know that's gonna trigger a lot of people to call me a soy boy, feminine, but
it happens.
I think, in my opinion, there's a lot of misinformation, even disinformation on that. I don't think that really. I don't buy into that. I think it's complete bullshit that soy feminizes you. Yeah, you can like watch a Paul Joseph Watson video and he can like cherry pick some leftist cunts on Twitter. Sorry, am I allowed to say that on this stream?
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah.
Cherry pick a bunch of people on Twitter and compile a list of like beta leftist try guys from BuzzFeed who eat soy and they have low T levels. But I could just as easily cherry pick a long list of vegans who bodybuild and who eat soy on the regular and aren't low T and are able to make athletic gains. So I think and there's other good counterclaims to a lot of the soy boy myth. Not saying that Paul Watson is the main guy that someone would need to look at for that, but I think it's complete bullshit. And I think a lot of people conflate it with, they're like, oh, well, having some, they kind of concede sometimes like, oh, having a bit of soy isn't actually bad. It's the processed soy lecithin or lectin or whatever it is in
right.
Some products, which may be the case, but, just eating like eating other forms of soy, I think is fine. Maybe you don't want to go too heavy on it, but having soy is, I don't buy into that.
Okay.
My sex drive is through the roof.
Good to know. Hence the no need. Hence the no need for the no fap anymore. So.
No need.
All right. Next question.
All right. Next question. Jack Green, ask yourself, pun intended apparently, what vegan gains, also pun intended, are you getting by being a vegan?
What gains am I getting? I'm getting getting less chance of erectile dysfunction, if you know what I mean, from the cholesterol and meat. But in gains, I mean, in terms of like, I guess, briefly touching, I feel better about not killing animals. Of course, that's going to arouse.
You're going back to going light again. You just switch back again. I don't know what happened. Maybe you change position.
Is it good now?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Gains, I mean, I just feel better not contributing. I know that's going to arise, in some people, like back to the moral question and stuff like that. But I'd say in terms of diet, I just feel better. A lot of people state that when they go vegan, they feel lighter and more capable in some athletic fields. Of course, you can be athletic or feel healthy from any perspective, but you can in fact experience a lot of health gains from a nice balanced vegan diet. I'd say those are some gains on it.
Okay. Next question.
All right, next question. Also for the guest, do you see any issue with purchasing food only from local grass-fed / free-range farms?
So for a few reasons for that, a lot of the free-range, quote-unquote, humane farms are actually they're just like loopholes for some industries. Like whenever they say free-range or humane, it's like, oh yeah, the cage that the chickens are in is a little bit bigger, or they get to roam in their quote-unquote free range for like, extra 1 minute a day.
Jack, your mic is going out again. I apologize.
I'm sorry. Is it good now?
No, it's better now. Yeah, sorry about that. Go on.
It's a shame.
You said the free range and stuff. I think we started to understand. I was trying to catch it right in the beginning so people would get most of what your answer was. I think people did get a lot of that. I heard it, so.
Okay. Yeah, just like the free range loopholes, like, oh, the cage is a bit bigger. You get to roam around a little bit longer, and that suffices to meet the standard for the industry. But in terms of the humane stuff, just goes back to the fundamental thing we discussed earlier, where yeah, I mean, if you think a bolt gun to the head is humane, or us slitting an animal's throat is humane, a humane slaughter, it's a bit of an oxymoron. I think that's a bit ridiculous to think there's a humane slaughter.
Okay.
Okay.
So, also for the guest, have you had any health problems because of your diet?
I have not. Now, some people experience some, health things. Maybe they don't plan it properly or something like that. As long as you just, a lot of people switch into it, they can be fine. Maybe they'll take a B12 supplement. They'll just eat whole foods.
Your mic is going sideways again. So you were saying a B supplement?
Am I good now?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, some people will be good just like switching to whole foods and then taking like maybe just a B12 supplement. It's fine. But yeah, as long as get if you're gonna do the vegan diet, switch and maybe get some, blood test or something if you can, and see what you're missing, and then fix the holes in your diet accordingly. But everybody should be able to do this without any health defects. Yeah, there's some people who maybe just absolutely cannot, because they cannot tolerate like a lot of plant foods. But if you can, you should be fine.
Okay. Before we jump into the next question, we already have a lot of questions logged already. So I'm going to stop the questions at this point because we have a lot of questions still to be asked. So at this point, guys, because I want to keep it under 2 hours, we're going to go ahead and close down the Q&A because we've got well over 15 questions left. So I just want to make sure we've got plenty of time to answer the questions and continue the conversation. So for those of you who didn't get a chance to ask your questions, I apologize. Maybe we'll do a follow-up stream and maybe you can address your questions and concerns then. Or maybe you can ask your questions in the comments once I upload the video, and myself or Jack can address them at that point. And this should be uploaded later on today, so it'll be uploaded before the day ends. So sorry about that. Lily, go for it.
Is it cool if you do the
okay,
just for DDJ real quick while I take 30-second?
Sure.
Come back.
Okay, so we'll just sit here.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So have you decided what the subject of your next video is going to be, Lily?
No. Maybe I'll make it about veganism.
There you go. And how you like bacon?
I love meat too much.
I'm sure you do. That's why you're a good Q&A thought. It's okay.
Oh, I thank you, senpai.
Aw.
Oh gosh. This is longer than 30 seconds.
It takes a little bit to rub it out. I get it. Are you back yet, Jack? Oh, he left the mic open. That's funny. We can hear the cars drive by. That's awesome.
Well, we need background effects.
Yeah. Yeah, Vorhuts. No problem. Yeah, Vorhuts. Lily does make videos. She has a channel, LilyEven32. And she doesn't have very many videos on it yet. She's a relatively new content producer, but she's got a few. So, and then we've done a couple things together as well. So, welcome back, Jack. We were just passing the time listening to the cars drive by. So we're going to go ahead and jump to the next question. Oh, no, it's fine. Because like I said, I know you're in Southeast Asia, so you got to take the internet where you can find it. So
we're all good. Ready to go?
Go for it.
All right, question for guest. Do you believe fat is bad for you? What about the research that's been coming out that shows sugar is just as good or worse for you?
It's a bit of an odd question to pose. I don't think I ever really spouted any anti-fat comments, but yeah, I mean, I eat fat. It's fine. I think, yeah, I mean, there's some stuff. I'm not too sure on all the health stuff. I'm not like the expert in health or whatever. I more focus on the other stuff in regards to veganism. But
Your mic is going away again.
Good now.
Yep, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to fat. I'll eat fat. You know, can eat nuts, seeds, avocados, stuff like that. If you're in Thailand, you can eat some coconut meat. It's all good. I would need to look into more of the sugar stuff, but you know, I'm open to it.
Okay.
All right. So I don't know if this one's a little bit trolly, but I'm gonna go for it. Question for the guest: Do you prefer fresh, frozen, or canned corn? Which brand?
What's the sweet corn joke? I have no idea.
Oh, so we're basically the joke with cat feeding the cat is about anal sex, and basically if he's concerned that he's going to get shit on his dick, that basically he gives the woman sweet corn for a few days, so that basically it just cleans out her system, so she's basically shitting nothing but sweet corn, and basically he just when he has anal sex with her, then the odds of anything other than corn coming out is non-existent. It's kind of a running joke we've had for well over 6 months, and it's funny because it wouldn't be funny if Kat didn't get so triggered by it, but like even last night he got triggered by it and it was awesome, so we had to roll with it a little bit. So for those people watching the stream right now, next Saturday just hashtag sweet corn ride in the Twitch chat, and the entertainment value will be there. So yeah, so fresh, canned, or frozen corn.
Setting people up.
I don't really eat any of it, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Next question.
Okay. Next one. It might be a little bit of a lengthy answer, but the question is pretty straightforward. Jack, what vegan diet is best for people wanting to be vegan?
I'd say you can't go wrong. Is Mike all good? Don't want to spur out.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
All right. I'd say that you can't go wrong with a whole foods vegan diet. So getting a wide range of stuff, you know, your fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, legumes. Get your sweet potatoes, brown rice.
Now your mic is going away.
How about now?
Yeah, I heard the brown rice, but it was starting to die there. Go for it.
Sweet potatoes, brown rice. Eat your pasta, vegetables, all this other stuff. You don't need any soy at all. Contrary to popular belief, to eat a vegan diet, you can live totally fine without it. And yeah, I'd say just generally, the guy I mentioned before, Dr. Greger, and the other guy they have good recommendations. But yeah, just whole foods. You know, if you eat some processed food here and there, should be fine. But that's a general, I'd say, well-balanced diet.
So you could be a vegan and not be a soy boy?
Oh yes, there's plenty.
Okay. Well, there you go. I learned something new today. All right. Next question.
All right, ready for the next one? For the guest, have you ever heard of the vegetarian myth by Lyra Keith?
Yes, I have. I think that's some complete bullshit. Lyra Keith, I remember she did an interview with Steven Crowder. I'm assuming you guys know who he is, right?
Yeah. And your mic is dying again.
It's a shame, you know.
I get it. Your mic is having a little erectile dysfunction. It's okay.
Yeah.
We're not judging you, but really we are. So it's okay.
It needs some Viagra.
There you go.
But yeah, I remember he had Lyra Keith on a few years ago to talk about her bullshit book and everything like that. I've seen many videos presenting good shit on why that's been debunked. She wants to just like eat raw organ meats and everything. I think most meat eaters even think she's insane. I don't think most people would even want to do that shit. It's disgusting.
Well, the term she and the term insane often go hand in hand, so I get it.
Oh, well, that is true. You know what's funny is that if you've ever seen that or maybe heard about it, she is a self-proclaimed crazy feminist, and he was just totally didn't press her on any of the feminist stuff on the show at all. It was quite amusing.
That's funny. All right, next question.
Okay, you've kind of already answered this before, but just a little recap for people. Question for the guest: do you think it's ethical to hunt animals and raise chickens for eggs?
Again, if it's absolute necessity, if you're in a place where there's no plant foods, then I'd say it could be justified. But yeah, I mean, hunting animals.
Your mic is going away again.
Brilliant.
There you go. It's back now.
Yeah, if you don't need to do it, then yeah, in my opinion, it shouldn't be done. The animals, now, granted, I will give people this, that it's more consistent and it's more, whatever you want to say, for people to actually be okay killing the animals themselves. Not saying it's ethical or anything, but I'll grant you a point if you're willing to do it, because most people, they see the slaughter footage and then they're like, oh, that's disgusting, I could never do that, but then they'll continue to eat meat. So, if you could, not saying you would have to go out and do the killing, but if you would genuinely be okay with it, then you get a point for consistency on that.
Well, I've had a rare steak in the middle of like a horror movie when everybody's getting hacked up. So, I mean, some of us have strong stomachs. Like where I'm eating like this rare steak and it's fantastic, and just saying. But I take your point though.
Yeah.
Next question.
Okay. So, question for the guest: plants are living things, so are you being autistically hypercritical?
No, plants are not sentient. Animals and humans are sentient. Plants are alive, sure. Plenty of things are alive, but they're not sentient. So there's been studies showing that they're intelligent, that they can.
Your mic is dying again.
Right now.
Perfect. So studies.
I'm sorry. I realize that's going to be annoying to think about later. That mic just keeps going out.
That's okay.
But yeah, there's studies showing that, and I can put these on Twitter or something later. But studies showing that there's plants like reactions to things, but that doesn't actually demonstrate sentience. Like plants could be. I mean, I think they're intelligent. There's evidence supporting that, but computers are intelligent, so yeah.
Okay.
So you kind of just answered the next question, because it was sort of like a follow-up question. The question was, plants can sense light and communicate with chemicals, so what's your justification to say that plants aren't sentient? But yeah, you just kind of answered that.
Yeah,
let's just go to the next question. I think we're going too far down the whole sentient argument rabbit hole. That might be a subject for another time, because that's a pretty deep dive.
There's a couple.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just so you guys know, we're gonna go ahead and skip the whole sentience question train of thought. We're just gonna move on to other questions, because again, that's too deep of a dive, and we've only got about 30 minutes left max. So go on.
Okay. So I apologize again for my lack of vocabulary here. Question for the guest: don't vegetables have lectins that are acidic for human stomachs compared to the chambered stomachs of ruminants, like cows and stuff?
Toxic lectins. I mean, some vegetables might, but most vegetables I'd say you can be fine. I've never seen really any people reporting any health defects from vegetables. But of course, if that was the case, then you don't have to eat just vegetables. There's like plenty of food groups: legumes, grains, nuts, seeds, fruits. So yeah, if there's some vegetables, I would have to look into it again, but if there's some vegetables that may be toxic or whatever, then yeah, avoid it.
Your mic is going away. I heard toxic was the last word I heard.
Good now?
Yep, go for it.
Yeah, if there's some that are some may be toxic, grant you that. I've heard like some greens, people doing the green smoothies, all this shit. Apparently some of that could be a bit toxic to the liver or the kidneys or something like that. I've heard that, but yeah, in general, if that's the case, then just avoid the toxic vegetables.
Okay.
Okay. Next question, also for the guest. What is your opinion of veterinarians? Sorry. Do you believe that it's right to put an animal out of veterinarians? Yeah. Do you believe that it's right to put an animal out of its pain, or do you think we should let the animal die from the pain and eventual degradation in their health?
Depends. There's sometimes I think about this. It's not completely. It's kind of a gray area for vegans. Sometimes it could be, if they're in absolute pain and it's the right thing to do, then put them out of their pain. Maybe you could justify that, but in general, if they could become healthy again, and you're just kind of assuming like they're on trajectory to die.
Your mic is going dead again.
That's a shame.
It's okay. I heard the part about the you said it depends.
Yeah, it depends. If they come back, or I mean, if their health returns or something, but you're just assuming they're on trajectory to die, then yeah, you should not put them out. But yeah, sometimes it depends on the situation. It could be justified to put them out of their misery, just like how it could be justified for some humans. But I wouldn't necessarily always make the moral judgment and just be like, oh yeah, just gonna let the person, or kill the person prematurely. But it's kind of gray for me.
Okay.
Okay. Next question. For the guest, retarded people have consciousness/conscious thoughts. Animals don't. How do you equalize them?
That's just bullshit. Animals are sentience is the same thing as consciousness, essentially. Subjective life experience. So animals do have conscious experience. There's a thing called the Cambridge Declaration on Consciousness. Long, I believe, paper or book. You can look it up. Yeah, it's the Declaration. I'd say it's pretty.
Your mic is dying again.
How about now?
Yep, go ahead.
I haven't seen any good refutations of it. So yeah, the Cambridge Declaration on Consciousness, animals are conscious. But I'll grant you, if the difference was the consciousness, if it was like, oh, what's the difference between animals and humans to kill animals and not humans, and they were not conscious, then I would shut up. I would be like, wow, okay, well, defeated.
Okay, so if you knock the animal out, then you can kill it?
What's going to return? I mean, if you knock the human out, you could say the same thing.
Right. Okay. So it's okay to kill humans if they knock them out. Got it. Next question. Yes, I'm trolling a little bit.
Okay.
I know.
This next one, I don't actually see a question in it, but it says it's a question, so I'm just going to go for it. Question for the guest. A lot of feminists are also vegan. They lecture us about respecting animals, yet treat their own male counterparts worse than dogs. In my opinion, only truly kind people claim moral authority. Only truly kind people can claim moral authority about animal rights.
Sounds like a comment to me.
Yeah, so it was definitely more of a comment.
Yeah, let's just move on to the next question. So because I don't want to run out of time.
Yeah.
Okay. Humans stop other humans from killing each other. So should we stop animals from killing each other?
Again, in the animal kingdom, animals need to kill each other to survive. They don't have any moral agency. So, yeah, I mean, we stop killing each other because we don't need to kill each other to survive. We don't.
Your mic is dying.
How about now?
Go for it.
And yeah, we have moral agency, whereas the animals don't. So this is kind of like a sub appeal to nature in a sense, where oh yeah, like animals in nature kill each other, so therefore we should we should kill them too. Like I don't see how that's comparable.
Okay. Next question.
Next question. It's quite simple, but it's something that I've been like burning to ask. Okay. How about fish?
Fish are also have shown to be sentient. Some people, it's still up in the air for some. In before the mic goes out.
Yep, go for it.
It's still up in the air for some people that, can they feel pain? Are they sentient? But for the most part, from what I've seen, the research shows that they are sentient. And in that case, I'd err on the side of caution. I know some people eat them, but I would just err on the side of caution on that one. And it's like if it's sentient life and it's unnecessary, then don't do it. But yeah, again, if you're one of these people, maybe like seasteading or something, whatever, need to kill some fish to survive. Go
for it. Okay. I like blackened catfish and I like seafood, but that's me. Anyway, go on.
Next question then. Which proportion of your motivations for veganism came from ecological convictions, moral convictions, and virtue signaling to some floozy? Yes, your MGTOW honor is being called into question here.
That's funny.
Virtue signaling to some floozy. Oh, they think they figured it out.
So
no, ecological. Yeah, there's some good stuff about the environmental arguments for veganism. I don't really focus on that too much, but it is there.
All right, your mic just died. Try it again.
Good now?
Yep, go ahead.
There's some good environmental arguments. Vegan diet takes up less space. You need to feed less plants to the animals if you're not raising the animals. But I don't really focus on the ecological stuff too much. Mainly it's the moral conviction for me. And then in terms of the floozies, there's some vegan women out there who like it. So, but if they don't, then fuck it.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Well, with floozies, you fuck it anyway. So there you go.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah.
All right. What is your opinion on the keto diet?
Keto diet?
Yeah.
I've never really done it. I heard that it can be done on a vegan diet, where you just primarily eat fatty foods and you get into ketosis and you burn fat. I've seen some people do it. I don't know if I would do it because the idea of going into ketosis just like without any carbs or any sugar.
Your mic is dead again. The idea of going into ketosis, go on.
Just doesn't seem very appealing. I mean, I don't need to lose any weight. So the idea of giving up sugar and carbs and stuff like that is just, it's not good. I need the fruits and everything,
Well, isn't ketosis meant primarily for weight loss and not like for long term?
I think so. I mean, maybe some people do it long term. I don't think you could sustain that for too long. Without at least stimulants or something like that. Otherwise, you're gonna need some carbohydrates eventually.
Okay, next question.
Okay, so good luck with this one. If half the population decided to eat 3 animals for every animal vegans didn't eat, would you give up veganism, being that more animals would be consumed overall?
Would I give up veganism if more people ate more animals?
So if people were going around being like, oh, there's a vegan, I'm going to eat 3 more animals because it's a vegan, would you would you not be vegan to save those other 2 extra animals?
Yeah, that sounds like the most autistic comment I've ever read.
We do have a little bit of autism, and that's okay. We'll take that as your answer, and we'll move on to the next question.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next question. That's good that we don't have more.
Okay. Are we good? All right. So I'll tell you what, Jack, obviously, you and I, we are going to disagree on veganism. I can see the health benefits of it. I could see under certain circumstances where it could be useful. But I think that, at least for myself, it's not a decision that I would make. However, I think you did a reasonable job in defending your position. I do disagree on the idea of moral agency as applied to a food source and a resource, but I take your point. So, obviously MGTOW don't have to agree on everything, and many MGTOW, especially content creators, we disagree on a variety of things outside the MGTOW umbrella. But again, I wanted to reiterate, number one, I appreciate having you spend time with me and chatting today. And Lily, I appreciate you obviously continuing to kind of hang out and help us out with the Q&A. And yeah, if you guys check out Jack's YouTube channel, if you're interested in content about veganism or content about minimalism, he does have some MGTOW content as well, and he's been telling me he's going to be making some more MGTOW content soon.
Yep.
But yeah, obviously he's got some interesting views. Some people may agree, some people may disagree, and then we'll just go from there. But again, with that in mind, also I wanted to get some feedback in the comments, if you would, about the new look for the DDJs Inferno and some of the upgrades that I've done on the channel. Definitely interested in listening to or hearing your feedback. And if you have questions that weren't asked, feel free to ask those questions in the comments, and we'll go from there. So with that, I hope everybody enjoys their afternoon or evening or morning wherever you are in the world, and I hope you have a great day. Have a good one. Goodbye.